I believe, yeah, there we go. Sabah al-khair, marhaba. Welcome and good morning. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends. My name is Brian Lott. I'm the Chief Communications Officer for Mubadala Investment Company, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning for a commemoration and likely a celebration of a company that has contributed for over 2 decades to the development of Abu Dhabi, the UAE, and in its own way, Mubadala. First, I'd like to recognize some of our distinguished guests who are here, very important people who have joined us and who have been part of this journey for a long time. His Excellency Khaldoon Khalifa Mubarak, the Managing Director and Group CEO of Mubadala. His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, the Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology. His Excellency Suhail Al-Mazroui, Minister of Energy. His Excellency Ahmed Al-Sayed, Minister of State. And these 4 gentlemen have been with this organization, meaning Mubadala Petroleum, from the very beginning, and working with the leadership of Maurizio Lanoce and Bakir Al-Kathari and Musab Al-Kabi to build Mubadala Petroleum into the global powerhouse it is today. And you'll hear more about that story this morning during this ceremony. We have 2 other distinguished guests. We have 2 ambassadors from partner countries to Mubadala Petroleum, and that's the ambassador from Thailand, Ambassador Puapinya, thank you for joining us, and Ambassador Bagis from Indonesia, thank you for joining us this morning. So it's quite the story, Mubadala Petroleum, that has contributed so much to the country and to the emirate and to Mubadala. You're going to hear more about that story, its origin, how it came about, and how it led to the development, really, of a very sophisticated global partner that is now ready to make a transition at a time that is critical for the world as it looks for cleaner sources of energy, while yet still reliant really on a demand for economic growth that is still essential, and that is a very much a hydrocarbon-based source of fuel for the foreseeable future. So how do we bridge that gap between the current and the future? We'll hear from our first speaker this morning, the CEO and Managing Director of Mubadala, Khaldoon Mubarak, about that journey right now. Khaldoon, over to you.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sharing a pivotal moment for Mubadala's energy business. Having diplomatic and business representatives and partners with us today from across the company's global portfolio is a real honor. Today also marks a new milestone in the UAE's commitment to leading the energy transition without breaking stride in our obligations as the world's responsible energy partner. To that end, I would like to acknowledge His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, His Excellency Minister Suhail Al-Mazroui, and His Excellency Minister Ahmed Al-Sayed, who are with us today. And I also want to acknowledge, probably there's something in the Mubadala Petroleum water that produces ministers. All of them have started their journey or been an important part of their careers has been going through, be it Dolphin Energy or Mubadala Petroleum. So Mansour, or Msabbah, or Bkhit, or everybody involved, get ready. It looks like you are the future ministers, inshallah. All of these gentlemen shaped Mubadala's energy activities and continue to oversee the UAE's energy policies and the institutions that ensure we extend our energy leadership to benefit our nation and, of course, global progress. Today, we launch a new chapter for Mubadala Petroleum as it becomes Mubadala Energy. As a future-oriented company, it will continue producing responsible, reliable, and safe energy that powers communities and industries worldwide through a strongly gas-weighted portfolio. However, the strategic pivot will see the company go much further and faster in bringing toward a lower carbon future as it expands into emerging energy sectors such as blue hydrogen and carbon capture. In many ways, today's milestone can be traced back to the objective behind the Dolphin Energy project, a joint venture now overseen, of course, by Mubadala Energy. Dolphin was one of the most significant energy investments ever undertaken in the Middle East and commenced almost 23 years ago to provide efficient and lower carbon energy that would enable the growth for our non-oil economy. Mubadala Energy will continue that pioneering journey. Fundamentally, we know the energy transition is a complex undertaking, and we see Mubadala and Mubadala Energy as central players in this challenge. The stakes could not be higher. Energy security, affordability, and climate imperatives hang in the balance. This really is about the world we create for future generations. Those who know Mubadala will know we do not shy away from bold moves and innovative partnerships to solve critical challenges and create new opportunities. This is especially true as it relates to decarbonization and a smart approach to the energy transition. Over 15 years ago, we formed Masdar in Abu Dhabi, when clean and low-carbon energy was considered unviable and alien to this region. Today, we bring precisely the same conviction and partnership philosophy to low-carbon gas production at scale and emerging technologies that will bridge the energy transition. I'd like to also acknowledge Msabbih Al-Ka'bi and Dr. Bkhit Al-Kathiri, and of course Maurizio Lanoce. Over the years, these gentlemen have shaped and continue to support this very exciting business. Also, Mubadala Energy's CEO, Mansour Al-Hamid, who carefully led the strategy development that brings us here to where we are today and leads us to the next exciting chapter. I wish Mubadala Energy's leadership and entire team the best of luck. Mubadala and our shareholder, the government of Abu Dhabi, stand firmly behind you, and we look forward to addressing new challenges and creating opportunities like we always have, with a clear vision of where we want to go, a humility that good ideas know no borders or boundaries, and a commitment to progress for the benefit of the global community. Thank you very much.
Khaldun, thank you. We've heard a lot about the foundation of Mubadala Petroleum and now as it shifts to Mubadala Energy and some of the past leadership. So we wanted to take this opportunity to hear from its current CEO, who's going to lead Mubadala Energy into the future, Mansour Al-Hamid. Mansour.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today for an important moment for our company's history. This year marks a decade since Mubadala Petroleum was formed. It also marks a year in which we hit a number of milestones. For the first time in our history, we reached over 500,000 barrels of oil equivalent a day. We also achieved our first gas at Bigaga, our flagship gas project in Malaysia, which supplies over 500 million scf of gas per day. And in recent months, we have announced significant gas discoveries in Southeast Asia. But our achievements have only been possible because of the dedication and vision of the people and partners that have been part of Mubadala Petroleum's story. So before introducing our new brand, I'd like to begin by thanking everyone that has supported us along the way, our staff, our stakeholders, and our partners. We have evolved over the years. From our heritage in Dolphin Energy, emerged the oil and gas unit in Mubadala. Through that small group of ambitious individuals, we built an energy business with an exciting portfolio and international scope. This was the foundation for Mubadala, which was formed in 2012. Through partnership and close collaboration, we expanded into new markets so that today we are a truly international energy company with a 70% gas weighting, reflecting our gas-biased strategy. This transition has been a theme from day one, and today the story of transition takes center stage again. Our industry and the wider global economy must adjust to the biggest change of all, the energy transition. That's why last year we took the proactive step to update our strategy. This will see us build on our position in gas as a key bridge, fuel to a lower carbon future, and expand across the gas value chain and LNG, and explore investments in new energy sectors, including blue hydrogen and carbon capture. Through this new strategy, we can continue delivering on the promise while decarbonizing our business and play a key role in the energy transition. Our new brand is a direct reflection of this strategy, which is why I'm so pleased to be sharing this next chapter with you today. So to conclude, I would like to thank everyone involved in our journey so far. We can look back at our story with immense pride, but as we evolve, we look forward to our future with even more excitement. To mark the next phase for our company, I'm therefore proud to unveil our biggest transition yet. Today, we have become Mubadala Energy.
Everywhere you look, the pace of change is accelerating. Technology and innovation are revolutionizing the way business is done and the way people live. But one thing remains constant: energy. We need it to live, to grow, to develop, and to thrive. But to ensure sustainable energy systems, we must transition. Gas has a vital role to play as a bridge fuel to a low-carbon future, as do new energy sectors. As an international energy company with a gas-weighted portfolio, we are committed to playing our part. But, like any business, we must constantly evolve and adapt to the dynamic world around us. Powered by our heritage as a wholly owned Mubadala company, by deep relationships, powerful partnerships, and forward-thinking investment strategies. We are an international future energy champion for Abu Dhabi, expanding across the gas value chain and new energy sectors. We are part of a sustainable energy future. We are energizing what's next. Mubadala Energy.
Congratulations to the entire Mubadala Energy team and everyone who has worked so tirelessly to make this transition a reality. As you all know, partnerships at home and worldwide are in Mubadala's DNA, so this is going to be an exciting journey for us. And we want to hear what the landscape looks like as we look ahead. So I'd now like to welcome to the stage our special guest for the final session and panel discussion entitled Energy Transformation and the Changing Energy Landscape. It's going to be moderated by Mustafa Al-Rawi, Assistant Editor-in-Chief of the national newspaper based here in Abu Dhabi. And he'll be joined by Dr. Angela Wilkinson, who's the Secretary General and CEO of the World Energy Council, the global body that's helping to shape the industry and policymakers' response to issues involving the energy transition. She's a leading thinker and industry veteran, spearheading chairman of Mubadala Energy and CEO of Mubadala's UAE Investments Platform. And we'll welcome back Mansour Al-Hamid, CEO of the newly minted and now named Mubadala Energy. Thank you all. Please join me in welcoming the panel. And Mustafa, over to you.
Thank you, Brian, for that introduction, and congratulations to you all for the unveiling of the new brand. We're going to have a conversation now for the next 30 minutes, as mentioned, about the landscape and the energy transition. I'd just like to set the scene. This is a critical conversation at a very important time. And if you think about what's happening in Europe at the moment, they can't even have this discussion because everything is focused on the current short-term energy crisis and how to resolve that. Yet there is an opportunity to lead the future of energy and all that means in this region and elsewhere around the world. And that's why I'm very pleased to say that we're going to be discussing all the different aspects of the future, whether it's a shift to different forms of energy, the aspects to do with climate change action, particularly with COPs 27 and 28 being hosted in the region. But we have an esteemed panel, so we'll get into that discussion now. Mr. Al-Kaabi, it's good to see you. It's good to have you here. We heard Khaldoon Al-Mubarak just say the stakes couldn't be higher. And given your sort of wider portfolio, you're chairman of Mubadala Energy, but also CEO of Mubadala UAE Investments, you're looking at sort of the bigger picture and the overall aspect of diversification. How does the energy transition play into that for you, given this view that you have?
Thank you, and let me first start by acknowledging the contribution by their excellencies, Khaldoon, Dr. Sultan, Suhail, Ahmed Saig. I had the pleasure to work closely with them, and I've seen the evolution of Mubadala Energy now to this point. So remarkable journey, remarkable success, but that success is underpinned by a strong conviction. So at Mubadala Investment Company, let me take you back to 2006, when Mubadala embraced the energy transition. As highlighted by Khaldoon, at that time we had a different view on the future energy demand. And we identified renewable energy at that time when people were skeptical about renewable energy as one of the key themes that will shape the future energy landscape. Fast forward 2017, we also acknowledged the need to embrace more sustainable forms of energy, not only at the energy level, but also at industries where they need to, embrace these changes. So at Mubadala Petroleum, Mubadala Energy now, we identified natural gas as a bridge, source of energy to ensure that we meet these aspirational targets for decarbonization in the future. So we embraced a strategy where natural gas will play a major role in the strategy. And today, I am very proud to see a company like Mubadala Energy with 70% gas weighted. But more importantly, we also set another internal targets that we don't talk about it a lot. But at Mubadala level, we said, Dolphin is dominating our portfolio. So let's develop a strategy that with time, we will become, or with the new investment, it will have a major or a bigger contribution in our net income. So today, we have almost the bottom line, more than 50% non-dolphin. So that's also a major milestone within Mubadala. The other target we set is that to develop capability, talents, and a global footprint. So I just came from Malaysia. I can share this story. We inaugurated the start of a major gas production feeding the LNG facility in Malaysia, 500 million SCF per day. But what makes me proud, what makes Mubadala proud, it was executed from A to Z by a local champion, Mubadala Energy. So that's a moment of pride to all of us. So overall, it's a reflection of a deeper conviction at Mubadala that energy transition is going to play a role. We have played strongly in the renewable, and equally we're going to play also strongly with traditional players like Mubadala Petroleum, Mubadala Energy. You will hear from Mansour Al-Hamid later on about the new strategy. So where this company is going to venture into a more sustainable forms of energy. And I think it's all known that all sources of energy will be required. So a company, a traditional energy player like Mubadala Energy definitely will have place to play going forward with embracing the new trends like hydrogen, carbon capture. So without embracing these technologies, I don't see a viable and practical way for a net carbon neutral by 2050 or 2060. So yes, I think it's been a remarkable journey, a reflection of Mubadala confection when it comes to the energy transition, and very proud of the achievement and a perfect example of strategy execution when you see the portfolio today.
Thank you very much. I'll turn to you, Mr. Al-Hamid. As Mr. Al-Katbi was talking about the impressive position at which Mubadala Energy has arrived at, you've been in the role of CEO since 2021, but you bring around 15 years of experience, not just in the industry, but in terms of business leadership. From your point of view and given your background, how do you think Mubadala Energy has handled the energy transition, given that it went from being a traditional sort of energy company to something more modern and different?
Thank you, Mustafa. First of all, I'd like to say we would like to leave this place from saying Mubadala Energy, not Mubadala Petroleum. Stuck in our mind. Well, basically, Mustafa, I think in 2017, after the oil price crash, we took a step back and looked at where our strategic strengths were and where we want to be in 10 years. And we realized that the gas will play a key role in the energy mix. And that we have a strong position and foundation, which enables us to be part of this energy transition. We've recently acquired 22% stake in the Tamar gas field in Israel, and our operated gas project in Malaysia, Pigaga, achieved full production this year. In addition, we had recent discoveries in Southeast Asia, significant discoveries. All of that have contributed to reaching into 70% gas weighting. This is important. So in order to maintain a sustainable future, we believe that, and we share that the view that the gas will be the bridge fuel for the future. It's basically 50% less carbon emitting than coal. So therefore, this year we've launched our new strategy, which will focus on building on our heritage and map the path for the future through leveraging on our strength in gas, expanding in the gas value chain and LNG, create opportunities in the new energy sector of blue hydrogen and carbon capture. When it comes to energy transition, we want to be in the front seat. We have a clear strategy. We have the strong track record and the solid foundation to put us being an international future energy champion of Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much. And it is about the future, and the landscape has been changing quite rapidly as we've been discussing this morning. Dr. Wilkinson, you're an expert, not just in energy, but in terms of the human aspects of the industry and how to move it forward in a way that's inclusive. We were discussing that a little bit earlier. The World Energy Council has done a lot of work to define what this transition is and what it means. Would you be able to share some of your thoughts and insights on how perhaps we should view this energy transition?
Certainly. First, let me say thank you to Mubadala Energy for inviting me here today, and congratulations on the rebrand, which I'm pleased to hear is more than a lick of paint and goes deeply into the leadership responsibilities of energy for humanity. After 100 years, I'm not about to rebrand the World Energy Council, but I do want us to strengthen World Energy Community. What's happening in terms of the global landscape? Our most recent World Energy Pulse shows that compared to March to June, we have seen less optimism about the ability to accelerate the pace of global energy transitions. I would always use plural. There's not the transition. The direction is shared, the ambition for net zero is shared, but there are multiple trajectories because there are differences in situation and locality that really need to be managed. We are seeing a gap in implementation between the top-down technology and investment strategies and the bottom-up engagement of communities and cities in moving this transition forward. And I think for us as a community, I'd like to reiterate 3 lessons that we've all learned from 100 years of energy. And that is, energy as a system. Behind every button, fuel pump, and switch are a myriad of connections, not just connections of technologies. Gas, electrification are increasingly connected, but also between people and geographies, hopes and fears. And we have to manage it as this complex, connected system. Second, that the diversity in energy systems is increasing across the world, in the broadest sense of technologies, peoples, and pathways. And I think the third bit is that energy transitions are not the destination. The future that we're leaning into is of a shared, circular, regenerative model of human development, and transitions are pathways, but they're not the destination. And we have to remember that energy cannot be reduced to a single metric of carbon or of anything, and that we have to manage the energy trilemma of security and affordability and sustainability with new attention today to the agendas of resiliency, adaptation, and justice. Let me stop there.
Thank you. A very optimistic vision, obviously touching upon the realistic challenges and opportunities that we're facing at the moment. But you mentioned the word resilience, and perhaps in this region we benefited, its blessing in disguise, the oil price crash in 2015, 2016, because we were forced to go on that journey earlier than perhaps we would have chosen to. And if I come back to you, Mr. Al-Kaabi, because you know the strategy to take on that sort of gas-biased view for Mubadala Energy in particular was one that came out of, I think, perhaps necessity because of those times. Were you always confident? You know, you were also CEO of Mubadala Energy before. Were you always confident of that strategy, that it would prove to be successful?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, I think when you look at the energy outlook going forward, the demand, and aspirational target by big industrial and economic players globally, be it in Europe or in Asia, there is a clear window of 2050 or 2060 where they announce carbon neutrality. So then you take it backward and try to run the math and how your energy outlook will look like. The conclusion is very simple. You need all sources of energy. You need to be practical, pragmatic way to ensure that you achieve that target. Oil and gas will have a major role, a significant role. Renewable energy, definitely. Hydrogen. So all sources of energy will be required in order to achieve this aspirational target. Now, if we double click on the natural gas, it is the cleanest form of, in the hydrocarbon, with the minimum carbon footprint. And we identified that theme to be a practical theme that will enable us to achieve, or enable the world globally to achieve these aspirational targets. So that strategy to pursue natural gas was based on that conviction, is that future energy demand will require all sources of energy. Natural gas will play a major role, but equally also renewable energy, because renewable energy, as Mubadala being first, players to embrace it long time ago. And you see that with the time, 2040 to 2050, we will practically be able to achieve these targets with all sources of energy in the mix. So as I mentioned, I think Mubadala Energy is positioned extremely well, strong now when it comes to the natural gas, but that will not be enough as well. You need also to embrace new trends like carbon capture. Without carbon capture, I think it's going to be very difficult to achieve these targets by 2050 or 60. So it's a journey, and I think so far we're very happy and very satisfied with the achievement, but the future is going to be even more interesting, driven by this big theme of the transition. And we have Masdar and Mubadala Energy now playing in that and ensuring that we achieve these targets in the far future.
So if you excuse the pun, I'll drill down a little bit on the strategy of Mubadala Energy, Mr. Mohammed. When you talked about it, about new energy markets, innovative areas. What does the strategy look like? Can you talk a little bit more about that for us today?
Sure. I think there is a broad consensus from our peers in the sector. Says the industry needs to focus on gas as a bridge fuel and explore new areas of hydrogen and carbon capture, which is really encouraging and gives a strong signal that the strategy that we've set ourselves is the right one. However, the challenge is twofold. Although the market of hydrogen is developing really fast, it's fairly immature, and the number of opportunities, therefore, it's small and highly competitive. So there is no answer yet, but this is where the core value of partnerships comes in. Over the years, Mubadala have developed strong and durable partnerships, and we as partners working proactively to support, learn, and create opportunities in these new areas. In addition to that, it's about people. We are investing in training and upskilling, getting our people prepared for our next chapter of the story.
Thank you. You speak about people, the strategy moving forward, new areas like hydrogen. I'll come back to you, Dr. Wilkinson. Sort of bigger picture, where do you think the priority should be for investment when we're talking about all these themes this morning?
Well, I make no bones, as everybody knows, that my agenda is humanizing energy. So when we talk about people, I talk about people and communities, that there's a gap in market value of involving more people and communities at all levels of society, cities, rural, mid-sized communities, regions, in closing the implementation gap. And if I was to differentiate and offer a reflection on when you change your brand from oil and gas to energy, oil and gas companies are really phenomenal in terms of their ability to redirect capital to technologies, to carbon capture and storage, to electrification, to strengthening the grid, alongside with more efficient production of gas. But we can't achieve success if we don't address the need to involve more people and communities at all levels of society. We can't just throw money and technology at the problem. So the difference between oil and gas and energy when you're a company is energy companies talk about the customer-centric, the user-centric energy system, about the customer, about the involvement of communities. And this can be a challenge. In oil and gas, we're used to remote fence-line communities where our job is to keep the community out of our operations. When we become energy companies, we're in the center and heart of the community, and we have to involve those actors in the transitions moving forward. So, I'm humanizing energy. I'd like to see a humanizing energy spin in the climate negotiations. I'd like to see a humanizing energy spin in Mubadala Energy's strategy. And as always, we're the World Energy Council and community, and humanizing energy is our open to all agenda.
I mean, very much at the moment, the old way of thinking, the economic theory that if you made profit, everything else would fall into place. I think we know that doesn't work now. and we're trying to come up with a new inclusive way to keep everything on track. And some may call it stakeholder capitalism. People have other names for it. But we have the immediate challenge of volatility in global energy markets, whether it was the fallout from COVID and the experience of demand coming back sharply and lack of investment, but also the conflict going on at the moment, the war in Ukraine, and also the energy price crisis. If I stay with you, Dr. Wilkinson, given what we know we need to do and what we need to achieve to be more inclusive, to be more human about our endeavors going forward, how do we manage that instability? Do we need to wait for kind of markets to become stable again? And do you think that global energy systems can develop along the lines that you mentioned?
I can tell you what the Pulse survey says, and that is we don't expect there to be a return to business as usual anywhere. This is a survey across 92 countries, and that the turbulence is likely to continue for another 3 to 5 years. Now, I'm sure on the supply side we will see an abundance of supply. We see diversification of sources, but we're not going to be able to address the energy transition challenge just by focusing more investment on improving supplies and on diversifying supplies. We have to get to grips with what's called Scope 3, and that's the uses of energy. We have an energy system at the moment which produces twice as much useful energy as we can use. Let's focus on a useful energy transition. Let's talk to how are uses and users changing? What are their needs? And what does that mean for how we manage supply? And price volatility is a challenge because this is the world's first demand-driven energy shock. So this is going to put more emphasis on demand-driven disruption and demand-driven solutions. And we're not going to get to those unless we humanize energy and involve more people and diverse communities at all levels of society in the movement forward.
I'm going to bring this fascinating discussion back to Mubadala Energy for our conclusion. And Mr. Al-Kaabi, if I may, I'm going to ask you from sort of a shareholder's perspective, what are your expectations now for Mubadala Energy going forward?
What at Mubadala level, we already stated an aspirational target to double our portfolio size in the next 10 years. So that will come through investments in sectors where we believe would enjoy a strong tailwind. And also equally, we need to embrace new forms of businesses and sectors in the existing champions. So if I double click on Mubadala Energy, so that means you need to embrace a new strategy where it makes your transition smoother and profitable. But equally also we have other industrial players internationally and also here in the UAE. And there is a trend that with time we would like to upgrade these traditional businesses to ensure they are ESG compliant and also, of course, resilient under different scenarios going forward. So as Mubadala, we invest in different sectors, petrochemicals, aluminum, and let me give you one example about how can we transform traditional businesses to embrace new trends in the industry. Emirates Global Aluminum. This is a leading aluminum producer globally, the largest industrial activity outside oil and gas in the country, enjoying a strong supply demand going forward. But also they have an inherited issue with the carbon footprint. So the company is embracing a new strategy where with time we will decarbonize. So they have already in the process of stating their decarbonization targets going forward. Last year, we produced a new form or new product generated as a result of utilizing solar energy in the mix and producing a solar aluminum. We called it Celestal. And it's unbelievable how customers around the world are interested in this particular product. Interested because that's what the customers want. And it gives them also a comparative edge versus their peers in the automotive industry or in the construction side. So that's the trend, and I don't see it but to intensify going forward. So as Mubadala, we're going to ensure that we play it smartly going forward, achieving an acceptable return, but also embracing the ESG energy transition. But you see that trend in the going forward. So we will embrace these trends, and hopefully we'll play as we played historically. So to Mubadala Energy, I think there is unbelievable opportunities going forward. The energy transition, if you look at the word transition, almost the time is an acronym to transition, so it will take time. But embracing carbon neutrality, carbon capture, playing in the hydrogen, it creates an immense opportunities. On top of that, in the last probably few years, we've been talking a lot about energy transition. With what's happening now globally, we need to add to it energy security as well, another lens to look at the opportunities in the energy space. So Mubadala Petroleum played a great role historically. It is playing a significant role currently in our portfolio, and I have full confidence they're going to play a strong role, especially in this energy transition theme going forward. So I have no doubt.
It will take time, as you said. And finally, the last words with Mr. Al-Hamid. In 10 years, where should we expect Mubadala Energy to be?
Thank you, Mustafa. I think we are blessed with the support of the leadership. I think for Mubadala Energy, it has developed and grown significantly if you look back at the last 10 years. So therefore, if you imagine that, we will imagine that it will continue with the same trajectory for the next decade as well. Our main goal is Mubadala Energy to continue expanding the international gas portfolio. In addition, exploring new opportunities that provides long-term value in blue hydrogen and carbon capture, and accelerating decarbonizing the business through deploying technologies, driving efficiencies. I think this is those are the main key elements. In addition, I believe Mubadala Energy can play and be part of Abu Dhabi's position as a responsible, reliable, and sustainable energy provider. As part of this, I see our business will play a key role in the energy transition.
Thank you very much. And I think that that's the nature of the discussion. We know the bigger picture. We know what's happening globally, but also the role that Mubadala Energy, the UAE, and this region can play in that future. Please join me in thanking our panel for this fantastic discussion. Thank you so much for being here.
So, humanizing energy, investing responsibly, growth, and a sustainable future are all keys to the future of Mubadala Energy. I hope you've enjoyed this morning and a bit of a perspective on where things look and where Mubadala Energy is going under its new incarnation. And before we break, I'd like to just ask that Their Excellencies please come to the stage for a quick photo opportunity. So before we break for lunch, can I just once again like to thank Their Excellencies, our ambassadors, Dr. Wilkinson and the executives, and all of our distinguished guests. Mustafa, thank you for moderating that panel, for a great session this morning. We're all excited about the future of Mubadala Energy and where it's headed, as well as reflecting on its past. We'd like to invite you all to join us for lunch. We're going to ask our distinguished guests to leave by this door. We've got lunch if you'd like to exit out the back into the room right next to us through those doors and around the side. And can we just give them all a round of applause while we break for today? Thank you for joining us this morning.